the coaching team. You will need to have a coaching team dedicated to the rollout of Agile and Scrum across the organisation. I have seen companies attempt an Agile transformation with limited, part-time and hobbyist style support, and in all cases the change has faltered and failed. Whilst volunteers, the less experienced and the enthusiastic, will all have a place in the evolution, we will need to have a full-time team of skilled coaches if we are to make a large-scale business change stick. This team will also need to be cross-functional, as they will work across the diverse areas of the organisation. Now, this does not mean we do not need embedded coaches. These will be crucial, and we will come back to this aspect later in these videos. But with only embedded coaches can come issues around sub-optimization on the current organizational structures. I am a coach for the letter sending platform, so I will agilify letter sending rather than think of the entire end-to-end billing experience. It can also lead to the coaches going native, and I've even seen embedded coaches become part of the justification and the defense of the status quo, rather than help and support its improvement. So for me, I still feel that an independent group of coaches is a vital component of any change. This transformation team will be made up of Agile coaches from a variety of backgrounds to encourage diversity, to avoid groupthink, and to have a little healthy conflict. A dash of change management experience is also useful in this group, but get the balance right. It is very easy to take the coaching team down a too pragmatic route. You do need to have some passion in there. So I prefer a mix of internal long-term, internal new hires, and external coaches in this group. The first group I like to call Wildcats, ILTs. These are internal long-term staff. These are colleagues who have been around a while. They know the organisation and they know the right people in the organisation. They are wily, influencers and pragmatic. These members can act and help us to reach parts and people in the organisation that are more immune to top-down influence from other parts. These people can also be very useful in finding those first few pilot projects. They use their contacts to find appropriate areas for a change program point of view. Big enough and important enough not to be sidelined or imploded from a political point of view, while still having the ability to make mistakes and learn through error, and more importantly, have a good chance of success. Then we have the Piranha, the internal new hires, fresh blood to the organisation, bringing enthusiasm and new thinking. These enthusiasts will bring a variety of different experiences to help teams transitioning to understand what is, that's not how we do things around here, and what is really good practice in product development. I normally view these as being in the company for this purpose, or perhaps having been here for a few years in different roles. You could split this down further into the new hire bringing outside experience. I've seen that a lot recently. Or an internal colleague who is a new hire into this role, which is where I started, and many organisations before Agile became a big fad would do so also. Then we have the Akinders, the external coaches or consultants. They have a wealth of experience in a variety of companies. These often come in to offer some Agile fairy dust to the team. Big names maybe, well qualified. They could even be part-time. Now, these for me are some of the most important members of the team, but also the biggest risk. There is a rather infamous Agile joke that applies perfectly to Agile coaching and external Agile coaches in particular. A pig and a chicken are walking down the road together. The chicken turns to the pig and says, "Hey pig, I think we should open a restaurant together." The pig thinks for a moment. I'm not sure about that. What would we call it? The chicken thinks for a moment. How about ham and eggs? And the pig freaks out. No way! You'll just be involved in that, but I'll be seriously committed. You see, the joke is coaches are chickens and external coaches are the biggest chickens of all. Involved, but not committed. If it all goes wrong, they can just walk away. Now that's a huge gift. Having someone who can actually tell you how it is without worrying about their next paycheck or their career is a huge advantage. Correspondingly, having someone giving you some pretty company and career altering advice and then they can walk away without consequence, that is a risk. Now remember that when you watch the rest of these videos. Having a light blending of that support in an almost Merlin or Obi-Wan Kenobi way, having a wise, slightly detached mentor, well, that can offer that aforementioned bit of magic. That's lovely. But if you build your transformation around these individuals, well, putting aside the resentment that can be generated by having these outsiders come in to implement, impose or enforce Agile on a defenseless workforce, putting that aside, just remember, you outsource the work, but you cannot outsource the risk. If they do a terrible job, you and your company will be the one in trouble. You see, the coaching teams need to be outside of direct line management of all but the Enterprise Change Coalition. The alternative is a coaching team that is well aware of its position in the organization. Too low down the organization structure, and it will not feel it has the authority to deliver genuine change. It can easily be squashed or mitigated by its own line management. And it may feel the need to align with the policies of its own place in the organization to survive. Subverted or corrupted coaching teams are worse than no team at all. Now here's an anti-pattern for you. I was on a coaching team that was part of an architectural design community that directly reported to, if I recall correctly, the chief architect. Talk about putting a fox in charge of the hen house. It was a very awkward, odd couple and severely hampered and finally destroyed their transformation. The coaching team needs a roaming remit to be able to align with the goals and the vision of the Enterprise Change Coalition. So these two communities need to be tightly coupled, but not subject to the whims and bureaucracy of the political middle management layers.